Hello and welcome back to Spooky Okie Podcast. My name's Madison,
And I'm Catherine.
and today we have a true crime episode for you. Woo!
Woo!
Uh, so get
I
ready
love
to
true
be really
crime.
depressed. True crime's my favorite, but get ready to be really depressed.
Okay, well, do you want to start? Because mine's funny.
Great, mine's not, so I'll start. We'll get all the
Okay.
sad stuff out of the way. I'm so glad you found a funny one. I always want to do that, but then I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stick with the depressing ones.
It's sad in a way that people are so stupid.
Ah,
And one person
okay.
was hurt, but nobody like dies. So it's good.
Oh, great. Mine starts out with a murder, so cool.
Okay.
Okay, so let's dive right in, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, great. This is the story of Nancy Probst. Have you heard of this?
I've never heard of this one.
Okay, well, good. You're going to learn something today. So starting out, my sources are Crime Watch Daily, KFOR.com, and The Oklahoman.
Nice.
So this story takes place in Midwest City in November of 2000. So a pretty recent one, which I always
Yeah.
hesitate to do. Like it just anything in the 2000s feels so recent.
See, mine is
So
actually a lot sooner than that. Like, or
really,
much more
okay.
recent than that. But it felt easier to do it because nobody actually dies. So,
Well, that does make a difference. It really does.
yeah.
Okay, so it's November of 2000. 32-year-old couple Nancy and Matthew, or Matt, Probst, are approaching the first holiday season with their 9-month-old daughter, Lelia, which is such a cool name. I've
Oh,
never heard of that. I wasn't sure how to say
I've
it, but
never heard of that.
all the videos said Lelia, so I'm
Okay.
gonna go with that.
It's pretty.
I know it's super pretty. Nancy and Matt had been married for 3 years. Matt worked as a mechanic at a local car dealership.
Okay.
So, on the afternoon of November 16th, 2000, Midwest City Police received a call from Matt saying that something was wrong with his wife, but he was afraid to go in the house.
It's
So,
not good.
no, not a great start. We really do just dive right in. Like, there's not really any
Okay.
good backstory. We'll learn a little bit more later, but it
Okay.
just dives right into being tragic. So, when police arrived on the scene, they discovered Nancy dead on the bedroom floor with a gunshot wound to the back of her head. Nine month
Oh,
old
that's not good.
Lelia, I know, 9-month old Lelia was in her crib across the hall, crying but unharmed. So,
Okay, well, this baby's okay.
yeah, I can't do another child death story. I can't. After that one with like the twins,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the oh,
That one was rough.
I
Yeah.
can't do another. I really can't. I've done a lot of like child death stories and I can't do it anymore. So,
Yeah, I
sorry.
I saw one that I thought about and I was like, no, I can't do that today. So instead I found a funny
Mm-mm.
one.
Great. I love that. Love that for us. So she was okay. She was okay. She was crying and
Hmm.
had obviously witnessed something awful and traumatic, but she was not hurt. Um,
Okay.
but police became immediately suspicious of Matt, which is
I mean, always
pretty
the
normal
husband.
it's
Yeah,
pretty normal in these situations to immediately assume that the husband did it. I mean, that's kind of standard procedure, I guess,
it
until you
is.
rule them out. But they became suspicious probably for good reason. They had they
Okay.
had they had plenty of reasons to be suspicious. So Matt had called his wife Nancy 26 times between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock that day. Um,
Okay.
which listen, I get it, but that's a lot.
It's a whole lot.
He stated that he became worried when he couldn't reach her and quote thought someone had killed her.
Oddly specific. Not she was in a car wreck,
Right,
something happened to her phone, not starting with like more basic items, straight to no, she was
right.
murdered. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
red flag for sure. And listen, I have anxiety. I get it. I get those like intrusive thoughts of like something has happened, like something has happened.
Yeah.
But it was a little specific for what had actually happened.
Yeah.
That's not so police were like, listen, that's not normally what people think of first.
Right.
If their spouse is not answering the phone, they don't automatically be like,
Right.
oh, they're killed. They've been murdered. So they were a little bit like, red flag. Let's note that down. Interesting. Another thing was when he arrived home, he didn't park in front of the house. He parked 278 feet away, and then walked to the house. It was like 6 houses down, I think.
What?
So he explained that he did this because his dad was a former highway patrol officer. So he knew that you should park a few houses away from the incident to not let an intruder see you. Which makes sense if you're a police officer, not if you are a husband who thinks that
Or
his
a
wife and
husband.
child are in danger.
You would
get
park
in
as
that
close as you
house.
could so you can get in the house as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So police also thought this was strange. That the explanation didn't make sense. Like, yes, if you're a police officer, maybe you're going to park away so an intruder doesn't see you. If you're a normal guy thinking that his wife and child are in danger, you're going to get in that house. So they were like, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense.
Try again, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to need a little more of an explanation there. So also when he reached the house, he didn't try to enter the house. He instead went to the back of the house and looked through a window where he claimed to see Nancy lying face down on the bedroom floor. He could also hear his 9-month-old baby crying inside the house and did not enter.
What is wrong with this man?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. If my 9-month-old baby was crying inside the house and I could see my spouse dead on the floor, or he didn't know she was dead. Like, she was laying on the floor. And you don't go in and try to, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So when police questioned the fact that he didn't enter the home, he said that he didn't want to burst in because there could be someone inside holding a gun to the back of her head.
Back of whose head? The baby's?
I think Nancy.
The,
I think
the
his
wife is on the floor. The wife's on the floor.
Yep. So I don't know if maybe he could only see like, I don't know if maybe from that vantage point he could only see like her legs laying, like, I don't know. But it seems a little odd to me. Police also thought it seemed a little odd, and it raised a lot of concerns about his involvement because although the police immediately discovered that her cause of death was a gunshot wound to the back of the head, this information had been kept confidential, and he had not been told the cause of death. He didn't know that she was shot in the back of the head, but that's the scenario that he came up with.
Yeah, that's sketch.
Yeah. So they're like, well, this is not looking good for him. Then at another time, when he was questioned again about not entering the house immediately to try to save his wife and child, he stated that he, quote, didn't want to contaminate the crime scene if it was one.
Okay, so you don't want to contaminate a crime scene, but you don't even know if it's a crime scene. So how about you just go in there and they can factor in what you did?
Yeah. What if she was alive and needed CPR or something? Like,
yeah.
Like he did immediately call the police, information. But like, normal people don't think like, oh, this is a crime scene. I should not touch anything. Listen, maybe that thought would enter my mind because we have a true crime podcast.
I was gonna say, like, it might enter my mind.
It would enter my mind. But most people, especially back in 2000, before kind of the rise of the true crime stuff, you're not going to think like, this could be a crime scene, I shouldn't touch anything. You're going to think, my wife is in there on the floor and my baby is crying, let me go help them.
Yeah, like, if I saw if I went to my parents' house, right, and say like the garage door didn't open, and so I was going to go in the front door and I could see like one of my parents lying on the floor.
You're going to rush in.
I might be careful. I'm going to rush in. Now, would I also think about the true crime or the crime aspect? And but I would be thinking, okay, I'm walking in these places, I'm touching this so that I can tell the investigators later. Yeah. But plus, also, if it's your house, your prints are everywhere anyways. Like, your prints are everywhere anyways.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, they're gonna get your prints anyway so that they can like, you know, like, make sure that they're not including you and whatever. Like, they're going to be testing for other prints, not yours.
Yes.
So it just doesn't make sense.
Weird.
Very strange. So police also thought this was strange. As he seemed to automatically assume that it was a crime scene, even though he didn't even know if his wife was dead or alive. Like, it makes no sense. I'm so frustrated. So anyway, One detective also noted that Matt's strange behavior when baby Lelia was brought out of the house, it was very odd. He noticed that he was not very interested in checking on her, even though she was like crying and fussy. He also made
not a good sign.
Right. I'm like, you don't want to check on your infant child?
Yeah.
After her mother was just murdered? Like, what? Especially if you think it's a crime scene. Like, if you think that somebody broke in.
If you think it's a crime scene, yeah, you might want to check on your kid, make sure they're okay.
Very strange. He also made comments that she, quote, must be hungry because she hasn't eaten all day, which is pretty strange since he supposedly left at 7 a.m. that morning, and he wouldn't have known when she had eaten or when the murder occurred. He wouldn't have known that she hadn't eaten all day. Doesn't make sense.
Man,
he's apparently not the brightest. He's not doing well. He's not doing well if he's trying to get away with it. He's looking very shady. So I mean, I do want to put out there, like, you can never judge somebody's guilt based on how they act in grief or in shock or in trauma. Everybody responds differently.
Right.
But the things he said and did just don't add up at all. Like, I know that everybody is going to respond differently, but
that's weird.
It's weird. So at the scene, there was no evidence of forced entry, robbery, or sexual assault, and no gun was recovered. So, like, what was the point of it? You know what I mean?
What was the point of that violent act? There's nothing
no robbery.
There's no sexual assault.
No. The blinds on one of the front windows were hanging loose, and police found Nancy partially dressed with a TV cable lying across her back. She wasn't restrained with the TV cable, but it looked like it had been like purposely placed there to make it seem like she had been restrained with it. So they immediately believed the crime scene had been staged because none of that added up. Like, it looked like, oh, we're going to lay this here and make it. They said, like, if you looked at it, like when you first looked, it looked like, oh, she was tied up with it. But then you look closer and it was literally just laying on her in a certain way to look like that.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And like nothing's missing, no sexual assault. Like, she was partially dressed, maybe to make it look like there had been some sort of assault. But there was no sexual assault. So, yep. So they think.
I mean, I'm glad there was no sexual assault, but
yes, I'm glad too. But they're pretty sure it was staged because that's what it seems like, even to me, who has no idea about investigations. But I'm saying it was staged. Yeah. So another interesting fact about the crime scene is that the lights in the bedroom were turned off. Which cast more doubt on Matt's story about seeing Nancy through the bedroom window, because like with the way the lighting was in the house, police
it would have been hard to see.
They don't think he could have possibly seen the amount of detail through the window that he reported. Like they're pretty sure like he reported details that there's no way he could have seen through the window with the lighting in the house in that way. So sketchy again. So in addition to the gunshot wound, she also had a busted lip, a bruised face, numerous contusions on her body, and her hair had been pulled out. So there had evidently been a significant violent struggle, which feels personal. Usually if it's that violent and there's no other obvious like sexual assault or a robbery or things like that, like it's personal. Just typically. So police continued looking into Matt. Obviously, they had their doubts. They had some reasons to be looking into. Yeah. So they were looking into him. And they soon discovered more incriminating information. Shocking.
Not surprising at this point. Yeah.
Right. So he had been cheating on Nancy. And
there we go.
Right.
There we go.
And the day of the murder, he had sex with another woman while at work. Like the day of the murder. So according to court documents, the woman told police she and Matt, quote, had sexual intercourse in the back of a customer's van because he worked as a mechanic at a car dealership. Doesn't that make you not want to ever take your vehicle anywhere?
I'm going to question the state of my car every single time now.
I
Every
gagged when I
single
read
time.
that. I gagged when I read that. I was like, I will never, my car will just never get fixed. Like, I would rather just break down than have that happen. Isn't that awful?
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Not, ugh, I don't like it. It's very icky. So anyway, that's what happened that day, the day of the murder. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, but then also just weeks after the murder, he had sex with the same woman inside the house where his wife had just been murdered.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
That is so messed up.
And it wasn't just her. Numerous other women also came forward about affairs with Matt. Mm-hmm. And when police interviewed other alleged mistresses, one said that Matt told her, quote, he was very unhappy at home and he was wanting to divorce his wife. So, yeah.
Not
looking great for him. Mm-hmm. So Matt very quickly stopped cooperating with the investigation and he failed the polygraph test. Well, I heard that he refused a polygraph test, but then I also read somewhere that he failed one. So I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
But he either wouldn't take or couldn't pass one. So not looking great.
For me, like, and like, I get it, but also like polygraphs are crap. But
right. But still,
the refusal is more of the,
one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like, if I was doing that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't believe anything it says, but sure, I'll take it if you want me to.
Yeah.
But to just be like, no, I refuse, I'm not taking that. That's sketchy.
Especially when it's, I mean, don't you want to find out who murdered your wife? Like,
yeah. Don't you want to do what you can to eliminate yourself as a potential suspect so that they can focus on other things? I
sure would want to. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So I didn't even take down these notes, but I guess they questioned him like that night, and then they wanted to bring him back in the next morning, is what I had seen on a video or something. But he, in the meantime, had gotten a lawyer and then just refused to talk to police anymore. Like, wouldn't answer questions. And I was like, dude, your wife just got murdered.
Yeah. Like, if you really wanted to find out what happened to your wife, then you're going to be cooperating as much as you can so that it can be figured out.
Exactly. Yeah. So incriminating. So in the meantime, they looked into other suspects as well. Like, I guess they kind of got a lot of heat for people being like, oh, they only looked at him. Like, they didn't look at any other options. But they did. They questioned Matt's brother, who had previously lived in the house, but nothing came of that. They also looked at other crimes in the area to see if any of them could possibly be related to Nancy's murder, like see if there was any sort of pattern, see if maybe it really wasn't a personal thing, like it was just, it happened to, she happened to be the target, like a random act. But no, none of them panned out, like none of them were similar enough. So Matt quickly became the prime suspect, as I'm sure you guessed.
Yes.
Yeah. So 5 months later, in March of 2001, he was charged with the murder of his wife, Nancy.
Good.
And in the meantime, like pretty much immediately, I think, baby Lelia was taken in by Nancy's brother, Byron, and his wife. And they eventually adopted her with very little resistance from Matt. Even in the months between Nancy's murder and his arrest, he didn't hardly have anything to do with her. He didn't offer any financial support or interest in visitation. Like, he would come by for dinner sometimes, eat dinner with the family, get a free meal, and then leave. And they were on Crime Watch Daily, they were asking the brother and his wife, who got baby Lelia, if Matt had ever offered to pay, whatever, provided any sort of financial support. And they were like, well, he bought pizza one night. Yeah. Yep.
I'd be like, okay, along with each slice of pizza, I'm gonna need about $50 to help care for the baby.
Yeah. Babies are expensive. But then the wife was like, well, he may have also brought a pack of diapers once.
Okay. A baby needs way more than a pack of diapers. They need try 50 packs and then we'll be talking.
Yeah. Babies are expensive. They're very expensive. And yeah, he didn't ever really want any contact with her. I mean, this has been 23 years now. So she's like 23, 24.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just never really
Wow.
had any interest, which is insane. Just absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I would think if your beloved wife was murdered, wouldn't you want to hold on to the one piece that you had of her? That's
You
my
would
thought.
think.
That's how I would think.
You would think.
But whatever. Apparently that's not how he thought. And you're gonna just love this. You're gonna love this.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
After 13 months of court hearings, the charges against Matt were dropped.
What? Are you kidding me?
Yep. There wasn't enough evidence found to charge him because if you think about it, everything was circumstantial. There was no solid evidence.
There needs to be a rule when there's that much circumstantial evidence.
Yeah. But it's like you gotta make sure that you have, you don't want to send it to a jury and then them find that there's not enough evidence and find them not guilty because then you can't try them again. So like it's this weird balance of like, do you have enough? Like, are you willing to risk that they fully get away with it? Or do you want to wait and try to get more evidence and then charge them with it and then go to trial once you know that a jury can't find them not guilty, It's just a hard situation. Like, and a lot of the officers were like, we think we had enough. But the DA decided like, there's not enough. Like, it's not enough to risk it. So we got to keep looking. But to this day, Matt is still free and now lives, or as of 2016, lived in Sherman, Texas. He has not attempted to have any sort of relationship with his daughter, Lelia, at least as of 2016, when I was the last like research that I saw. Which is insane to me. Like, she was a teenager by that point, and he had never tried to be in her life, which is crazy.
By that point, he would have mysteriously disappeared if I was in any way connected to the wife.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Insane. So police are still saying. Yeah. Police are still convinced that Matt murdered his wife. And they remain hopeful that they'll be able to find additional evidence to eventually be able to charge him with the crime and get justice for Nancy. But as of right now, there's not enough to charge him. So this is all alleged. I'm not saying that he did it. I don't want a lawsuit. But that's the information. So do with that what you will. Come to your own conclusions. Doesn't it just make you angry?
It makes me so angry.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I was so angry. Like, I was in such a weird mood whenever I was researching this. Wednesday, I think, is when I did it. And I was like, ugh, I'm so depressed now. So frustrated with the legal system and just everything.
Yeah, if I were like a friend, I'm not saying that they should do this, but I'm just saying like if that was me and my friend mysteriously got killed and there was a whole lot of evidence pointing to the husband, even if it was circumstantial, he'd be gone.
Listen, I would do that for you, and I would hope
I'd do that
for me. Great.
I would absolutely do that for you.
Great. Yeah, we're on the same page then. I would take care of things for you. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Not that will ever happen. And if anything ever happens, I never said that.
Yep. This is all hypothetical. This is
all
satire.
Hypothetical. Yes. Anyway, that is the story of Nancy Probst, and I hope someday there is justice for her, because
I hope so too. He should not be he should not be living free right now, in my opinion.
He should not.
Allegedly.
In my opinion. Allegedly. Everything is alleged. So,
Gosh. Wow.
All right. I'm glad that your story isn't as depressing. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh no, mine is quite I'm making it quite humorous. So
thank goodness we need it after that.
All right. By the way, guys, I am recording at my parents' house, which is why you see a fake screen around me, because my roof is getting fixed today. So I could not record at my house. So I'm at my parents' house. So I've got the screen.
I mean, she could have. You just would have been very angry with our audio.
You would have been really annoyed. We would have little views on that. There were little listens on that. It's not good. Also, if you're watching, you can see me do a magic trick right now. I'm gonna make a Mountain Dew appear out of thin air. Voila.
The background took it off.
I know it did.
That was a really good try.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I feel like we should be like, that's why we drink. Be like, what are you drinking? You're drinking
What are you
Mountain Dew.
drinking? I'm almost always drinking Mountain Dew. Some sort of caffeine every time.
I'm normally
Okay,
having
let me
Dr.
get my notes up.
Pepper, but now I'm having cranberry juice because I have a UTI and I'm annoyed.
That sucks.
Frustrated.
Okay, let's see here.
Except I just finished my cranberry juice. So now it's time for water.
Nice. All right. So, my case is the case of Zachary Sligar and Sage
Okay.
Crneckiy.
Ooh, I love the name Sage.
I like the name Sage too.
That's my dog's middle name. Her name
Is
is
it
Juniper
really?
Sage. Yeah, Juniper Sage.
Aww,
I give all
so
my pets middle
pretty.
names. Thanks.
Yeah, I do too. Actually, normally
What's
I do. I don't
Natasha's
think
middle name?
Natasha Romanoff.
Oh, naturally. Great.
Yeah,
Love
Natasha
it.
Romanoff longest.
Perfect.
You know what? I don't think I ever did give Cinch a middle name.
Cinch needs a middle name. Should we come
He
up with it right
does.
now? Wait, comment below what you think Cinch's middle name
Yes.
is. Should we
Yes.
can put a picture of Cinch up. There. Picture of Cinch.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Yep.
You'll have to send
We'll
me
do
one
that.
so I can add it to the video.
Okay, I will.
Okay, great.
Um, all right. So, mine is called, or I titled it Teens in Love Plot Family Murder.
Oh no. Okay, here we go.
Ah, young love, so full of hope, happiness, and murder plots.
Yeah.
Maybe not for most people, okay, but for the case of Zachary Sligar and his girlfriend Sage Crneckiy, this was definitely what happened. Zachary was 18 and his girlfriend Sage was 15 at the time. Apparently for several weeks the couple had discussed being emancipated so that they could go get married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at 18 and 15. Marriage.
All right.
Time for marriage.
Don't rush it. Don't rush it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Totally normal age to get married. Yeah. On July 19th of 2018, the young couple, so in love, went to her family's home in Chandler to tell her family about their plan to get married. They were seeking their approval and seeking their support in getting married and becoming adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Unfortunately, their hope was not going to fruition.
Right.
They told her parents about their plan, and her mom was like, "No, that's not going to happen."
Right.
Not the answer
right.
they were hoping for. Apparently, it made them very upset. So after he left, and so this next part, so some reports said texting, some reports said calling. I'm gonna say it was probably texting based on the maturity level and intelligence level that these two show in the rest of the story.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say texting from here on out, but like I said, different articles said different things.
Okay. Is that because it would be dumb to text these things because it's some sort of murder plot?
You would be correct.
That's the vibe I was picking up. Perfect.
Yeah. So, after hearing that Sage's mom was not going to support their original plan, they quickly came up with a new plan. The plan was to murder her family. Yeah.
Great.
Because they were upset.
That's the obvious plan B. Yes.
Yes, obvious. We're upset, so we're going to kill everyone. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's normal, right? I mean, haven't you thought that? You haven't texted murder plots with a significant other as a teenager?
What significant other?
Okay, same.
So I'm not quite sure why it was only her family, because Zachary's father also did not approve.
Well, but he didn't. He was 18.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's
probably
it.
it.
Yeah, Zachary's father actually said maybe they could get married after college, but they shouldn't get married right now.
Sounds reasonable. Or at least
Sounds
after
real
they're both out of
reasonable.
high school. At least after high school for both of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even that worried about college, but wait until she's a legal adult, please.
Exactly.
Yikes.
So after the disappointing and maddening news that Sage's family would not support their marital goals, Zachary left home and the couple began texting each other to plan out killing her family.
Right. Okay.
So they plotted out their roles in this. So Zachary's role was to kill Sage's parents, while Sage's role was to kill her sister in the trailer outside of her house.
How old was her sister, older or younger?
I never found a place that said. My guess would be older because she's not living in the house. She's living in the trailer outside of the house. So that would be my guess, but I don't know for sure.
All right.
So, and the reason they wanted to kill the sister is because then they would have more time to go on the run before the crime was reported.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't think this out very well, but you know,
yeah.
Their brains still have a lot of developing to do, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah. Hence why parents said, not right now for marriage. Yeah.
Right. Oh my
goodness. So, I know. So their plan was they would wait till everyone was asleep, kill them, steal their money, and then escape so they can be married.
Okay, it's like, sure, you got good bones to that plan. But we're gonna need to add a little more. We're gonna need a few more steps in between all of those. We're gonna need some specifics first.
Yeah.
Because okay. We're missing a lot of planning.
Missing a lot of planning. Yeah. And they decided they were gonna do it that night.
Okay.
So the night of being mad at the mom and dad for saying
well, because they're teenagers, because they are children. So they can't
children.
Think it through.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love escape so they can be married. I'm sorry, how are you going to get the legal documents to be married right after you've committed a crime and are now prime suspects?
That's yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and like it didn't just say money, it was like kill their or steal their money and their credit cards. And I'm like, yeah, so you really think
you're gonna use their credit cards? Oh no, they haven't even watched any crime shows. They need to listen to the podcast because they could get some better ideas. Oh my goodness.
Okay. So, Sage texted Zachary when her sister went to bed in the trailer, and then she texted him again when her parents went to bed. And also, Zachary's dad was out of town at this time.
Okay.
He had gone to visit some family in Arkansas, and Zachary said that he wanted to stay so he could still work at McDonald's that weekend.
But that's a responsible choice to stay and do your job. But what followed was not a responsible choice. So let's think about how we can make better choices, like staying to do your job and not
trying to kill people.
Yeah. It's like you started out strong, but then you brought murder into it. And that's nobody. No.
We just made some really bad choices and we need to rethink things. We need to use our thinking brain.
We're going to need to rethink our choices. We made some not great choices there.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
All right. After Sage texted Zachary that her family was in bed, Zachary loaded his dad's .32 caliber semi-automatic pistol for Sage to use on her sister. He also grabbed a buck knife that he said he would use if he ran out of bullets.
Okay, that's brutal, though.
Yeah. When he arrived at Sage's house, he went to her dad's gun safe, so I'm guessing it wasn't locked. Either that or he knew the code.
Yeah. She probably did and told him.
Yeah, probably so. He took out the .45 caliber high-point semi-automatic pistol and loaded the magazine with 7 to 8 bullets. Yeah, remember, we're talking about 3 people that they're planning on killing, and he's got 7 to 8 bullets.
Okay.
As their genius plan was becoming more real, Sage chickened out on killing her sister. So she
Okay,
decides that
well,
she's going to stay
good.
in the living room porch area. I got conflicting reports, but she was going to stay around that area and not go back with him.
Okay. But
So
she
he
still was
continues.
okay with him murdering her parents. She was fine with
Yes,
that part. She just didn't want to do anything.
yeah, she didn't want to do anything, and she didn't want anything to happen to her sister. So she was okay with him killing her parents, but she didn't want to help, and she didn't want him or her to kill her sister.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So Zachary entered her parents' bedroom, and while standing at the foot of their bed, first he shot Sage's dad, and then he shot Sage's mom in the face. Now, when I say shot, he didn't actually shoot the dad.
Okay.
He missed and shot his pillow.
Okay.
He did actually shoot the mom, but he shot her like through the jaw,
Oh,
like because she was
yeah.
sleeping here,
Yeah.
and her hand and her like jaw got shot.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Could have been a lot worse.
could have been a lot worse. Then he shoots at the dad again, still misses, and then
He's
the gun.
close, right?
He's
How
standing at
how
the
is he
foot of the
missing?
bed. I know. Am I glad that he
Okay.
missed? Yes, but how do you miss?
Also, if you decide you're gonna shoot and kill somebody, you better be a good shot. Why is
Yeah.
that your plan? I see why he brought the knife. Why he thought I might run out of bullets because he can't shoot from point blank range. Okay. That is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm very
Yeah.
glad that he missed. I'm so glad that he missed, but like,
I mean,
you're
yes,
literally right there. I,
you were
I wouldn't
right
miss that.
there. No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This
So
is
he shoots again.
insane.
I know.
What a
so,
roller
so
coaster.
he so he shoots that third time, still misses, and then the dad jumps out of bed.
Yeah.
So instead of using the knife that he brought, which I'm glad he doesn't, but instead of using that, he then runs away.
Real husband material there. I see why they wanted
I
to get
know.
married so bad. My
So
goodness.
he runs away, and then Sage encourages him to run off. She encourages him to leave, and she says, "Oh, I'll come up with a story to tell them."
What could you possibly come up
I
with?
know, and I couldn't find any reports that said what her story was, and I
Oh,
tried
I want to
so
know
hard.
so bad. I
I
want to know
want to know
so
what
bad.
her story was.
I'm dying to know. Oh my goodness.
Listeners out there, if
Oh,
you find a source that says what that story is, please send it to us. I tried so hard and could not find it.
you can find us on Instagram at Spookyoki Podcast or send it to our email at spookyoki@gmail.com. I have to know. I have to know what the story is.
Oh, so I don't know why. I don't know how she thinks she's going to have a story that's going to explain this. But
Nope.
anyways. So then as he's leaving, he dropped the 45 caliber. I saw varying reports. Some said in the yard, some said like in the living room.
Okay.
And then he misplaces the knife he was carrying as well. So he drops both weapons that he had that he used in this
Great.
crime.
Just, yeah. Perfect.
Just
Great.
just
Leaving
misplaced
them
it.
there very easily for them to find.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then he makes it back to his home in Shawnee.
Oh, and this was in Chandler, right?
Yeah, so she lived in Chandler with her parents. He lived in Shawnee.
Okay. How did they know each other?
I don't know. It did not say.
Okay. Just curious.
Um, so on so he gets home and he hides the 32 caliber and the sheath of the buck knife under a cabinet in his room.
Hey,
So
great
here's my
hiding
thought.
place.
My question is, he's driving through woods to get back to Shawnee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why not just throw it out the window as you're driving into the
Because
woods?
that would make sense.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I was literally thinking of the drive to Chandler from
Yeah.
Shawnee. And I was just
Yeah.
like, there's woods all through that area.
Mm-hmm. Sure are.
You could even take a separate highway to get home and really throw him off.
Yeah. There are multiple
I mean,
routes.
there are multiple routes he could have taken. He could have taken a different way and been like, yeah, I took the straight shot home. What are you talking about? I saw her this afternoon. We went to see her parents. Yeah, I took the straight shot there.
Yep.
I don't understand. Anyways, I mean, am I glad that they found the evidence quickly? Yes.
Right, right. Like this is
But
it's all good that they didn't know what they were doing. Like it's good that they didn't think things through. But
right.
it's just also kind of frustrating that they were that bad at this. I think I would be better at
Terrible.
committing a crime, honestly.
I think even as a teenager, I would have been better. Like,
Me too. I think I could have handled it. Not that I ever would have, but I think I could have. I think I had the capacity to plan things out a little better than that.
It's ridiculous. And then we all handle like traumatic situations in different ways, right? But
right.
So Sage's dad calls 911 and he said, we woke up from an explosion, and then says, I think my wife has been shot in the face.
Okay.
I'm just slightly confused that you don't start with, hey, my wife's been shot in the face, but he has had to say, I think she's been shot in the face.
That the phrasing is strange. The phrasing is strange. However, if it really just like grazed, like if they weren't, I mean, it would be shocking to be shot at in your own bed.
Yeah.
So if he thought it was an explosion.
Yeah, but I'm also confused. Like it says that he jumped out of bed. Like, did they not? Yeah. Did Zachary run away first?
Maybe.
Like, because it makes it seem like Zachary ran away when the dad got out of bed. So maybe the articles are just a little off. But
who knows? Well, and if it would make more sense if he had run out first and the dad hadn't necessarily seen him right there. Like for Sage to be like, hey, I'll come up with a story. You know? Yeah. Because like what can you come up with if he literally saw you standing at the foot of his bed with a gun?
Right. Well, I mean, they're already stupid. So I mean, she could have thought she could still come up with a story.
True, but I'm just trying to think like it would make more sense if he hadn't seen him there, because then you're even if it like has grazed and has gone through her hand, like still you might not be like, oh, she's been shot, obviously. Like, you know, like you're in your bed. You know?
Yeah.
So that's all I can think of. Just, you know, I guess devil's advocate there. But that's all I can think of is maybe he really was just like, I think that's what happened. Like, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I get that. So Sage's mom suffered a gunshot wound to her jaw. It says 1/2 inch from her ear. So I guess maybe more here.
Oh, okay.
Oof. She was rushed to Oklahoma University Hospital, where her status eventually was upgraded from critical to stable but serious. And I could not find any follow-up. I'm assuming that she lived because there's no follow-up on it going from attempted murder to actual murder.
Right. Okay.
So, I didn't mention my sources. I'll mention one right now, and then I'll go back and mention the others. But Newsweek.com had an interview with Zachary's dad. Okay. So Wayne Sligar, Zachary's father, said in an interview, he has a heart of gold. This is just not in Zach's nature in any way, shape, or fashion.
If he did it, it's in his nature. So
I know. And he said, the boy I raised loves dogs and horses.
Great. Good for him. That has nothing to do with the fact that he shot his girlfriend's parents.
No.
Serial killers also love animals sometimes.
Sometimes they do.
Rare, but it happens.
But it happens.
Oh my goodness.
Just like those don't negate the other thing. I don't know.
I mean, I get as a parent, like, how can you accept that your kid has done something like that? Like, I understand, but
right. Oh, but this interview, the whole thing, it's interesting. So, he said, now Zachary has been struggling over the past few years. He admitted that. He got diagnosed with diabetes a couple years ago, and he was frustrated and upset.
I don't even know what to say to that. And that caused him to want to murder his girlfriend's parents.
I know, and don't get me wrong. I know getting diagnosed with diabetes is a hard thing. It's life altering. There's so many things you have to think about. There's so many life changes.
But it doesn't drive you to commit murder. So
no, it doesn't.
Because I feel like that places blame on. I don't. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Yeah, it's trying to like give him an out as to why he did it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and that's not acceptable. So then he continues. He said, the romance that he had with his younger girlfriend was not fraught with fights or drama. Their relationship was really good. Even her dad thought that they had a great relationship.
Right, until he shot him.
I know. The processing here is just really interesting.
I see where they get it from, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I see why you would want to make, like, as a parent, how hard it would be for your child to do something like this. But at the same time, maybe like think about the words we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, if I don't even know. Like I can't think of words at this point. Like if you're not gonna accept what has happened and like come to an interview well spoken and prepared on what you have to say, like obviously you can share like, you know, this is not, it's just not like my kid, like this is the Zachary that I know, like blah blah blah, and I can't believe that he's done this, like whatever. But like to just none of the things that he says make any sense.
And now it could be that Newsweek, took
things out of context or
right. But as to what is written, this is incredible.
That is wild.
So, Newsweek also attempted to reach the girlfriend's father, but did not get a response.
See, that's what I would do as a parent. I would be like, no.
Yeah. No, I'm not responding. No. So both Zachary Sligar and Sage were facing 3 counts of conspiracy to commit murder and 2 counts of shooting with the intent to kill and assault with deadly weapons charges.
Okay.
The other thing is I could not find any other articles that talked about the sentencing, like trial sentencing.
I understand for her because she's a minor, but he's 18.
Right. I could not find anything.
Strange.
Yeah.
I wonder. Hold on. What was his name?
Zachary. Zach.
Hold on. Just a minute. We're going to look up some court records real fast. Okay. Let's see if we can find any records. I really love investigating things. This was in 2018, right?
Yes.
Cool. We got a felony. All right. What was his sentencing? Judgment and sentence. Downloading it. Let's see what we got. Okay, so he got... Oh, he was found guilty on all of them.
Not surprising.
He waived a jury trial, and he was found guilty. He's got 10 years on each of the conspiracy to commit murder. And then 35 years on each of the shooting with intent to kill, but they're all running concurrently with each other. So it's like 35 years.
Oh, okay. So 35 years. Okay.
Yeah. Which he won't serve all that. There's no way.
No, he won't. But, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we got. Thank you, OSCN. If you guys ever need to look up records, which I highly recommend you do, especially like women, before you go on a date, you better look them up. If you were in Oklahoma, go to OSCN. And look up their records. So anyway, that's what happened. Just a PSA there, like, you know, protect yourself. You should always look people up. Please,
and
stalk their court records.
I don't know what Sage would have gotten.
We won't be
but we
able
might
to
not be
see.
able to find. Yeah.
Unless she wasn't sentenced until she was.
Well,
What's her last
and
name?
they weren't Krasinski.
I think it was refiled under like a juvenile case.
Okay.
So I can't see it.
Okay.
But she was charged with all that stuff. It just
Okay.
has been refiled in the meantime. So I don't have access to that.
Okay.
All right. Anyway. There's only so much I can do. I'm pretty good at this stuff. I like to stalk, but there's only so much I can do, especially if it's a minor. So
yeah, and they had to do some tests, including a psychiatric evaluation to determine whether she was going to be tried as an adult or as a juvenile. So
okay. Apparently they found juvenile because they dismissed the adult case.
Yeah.
Well, she's a child, so.
I mean, she is a child. I mean, I'm sorry, but the 15-year-olds in my classroom are definitely not adults.
No 15-year-old is an adult. As much as they might think they are, they're not.
They're not. They're training to be one, but they're not yet.
Yeah, like we're working on those skills. We're working on those adult skills for sure. But
for sure. No. Okay, so continuing on with the father's interview.
Okay, sorry, I got really off track there. I just had to look up.
You're good. You're good. So the Sligars were only able at the time this article had been put out, they had only shared one face-to-face meeting with their son at the Lincoln County holdup. And the father said, we got to see him for a couple of minutes, but everything was recorded.
Right.
Yeah, because he's in jail. That's kind of how
murder, for attempted murder.
He's everything he says is going to be recorded, and when he meets with people, that's kind of how that process happens.
Interesting.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the father said that he and the girlfriend's father sought a higher power to bring healing and to the pain inflicted on both families. And again, the father believes his son is being forgiven. They're hurt, but they're still praying for him.
Great. If that brings some comfort, great. He still needs to
face penalties for that.
Repercussions for his actions.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So my thought though was, I mean, God bless Sage's dad if he's really praying for him. I think my prayers would not be in favor of him. I think my prayers would be for justice, and my prayers would not be for mercy or forgiveness.
Yeah, he's obviously a much better person than I am, because that's not what I would be praying for.
That would not at all be what I would be praying for. No. God bless him if he is, and he knows Jesus better than I. I'm honestly proud for him. I would not have that. Not for at least a few years. Not like right after it happened.
No. That's insane. Especially when your wife was shot in the jaw and was in critical condition. No way would I be like, oh yes, he's forgiven. Nope.
Yep.
Maybe that's just a toxic trait on my part, but no. Sorry, no.
Yeah, no. So both of the teenagers, when they were arrested, they both confessed to their roles in the plot for murder. So, and then they were officially charged later.
Yeah.
So
she didn't come up with the story, I guess.
Oh my gosh. I know. Yeah, she didn't come up with a good enough story to get them out of trouble. No.
No, it didn't work.
So anyways, I just found, I know it's bad that I am terribly sorry for the mom that she actually got hurt. But
right.
Story
is wild. It's just insane.
It's wild. I'm like, this is why teenagers.
But I hope that I hope that she has healed, and that it wasn't too major. I mean, yikes.
Yeah.
That's awful. But I'm glad that he was a terrible shot.
I'm glad that he was an awful shot. Yeah. I
wonder if part of it was that he didn't really want to kill them. I wonder if part of it was he got in there and was like, I can't do this.
That's what I wonder too, is if he was having second thoughts and struggled
probably
to
really
actually...
shaky. I bet he was shaky.
Yeah, I bet so too. I can only imagine the crap he's gonna get in prison from that too. Wait,
Right.
you were standing at the foot of the bed when you shot him and you couldn't even shoot him?
Right?
Can you imagine the...
Oh man. Listen, he deserves every bit of the crap that he gets in prison. Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, I just thought that was so wild. I had to do that one. Even though it was so recent, I was like,
That's
I gotta
different
share that
though.
one.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody actually died, although somebody was hurt. It was not, they didn't die. So I was like, okay,
Right.
I gotta share this one.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a great one. Where did you find that one? That was so good.
Honestly, I Googled Shawnee murders and I just like
Okay.
kept scrolling. I did like a
Yeah,
3-page like look and I found that one and I was like,
that's
oh, I gotta do this
perfect.
one.
So good. So good. Love that. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, this has been our first true crime episode of season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yay.
Glad we could end on a sort of happier note than mine. So that was great.
Yes.
Good stories. Um, you guys follow us on Instagram at Spookyoki Podcast. Support us on Patreon, $3 a month. We'll link to our Patreon in the show notes, but that'll get you access to our video investigations, any like bloopers or random things that we cut out of these episodes, because we probably won't cut anything out of this one. We did pretty good in this one, but like
We did pretty good on this one.
Last week, there were like 30 minutes of just random insane stories that we were telling that had nothing to do with anything. So we cut all those out and put them on the Patreon. So if you want to hear that sort of thing, they're fun. They're very fun stories.
They're very fun stories, yes.
Yeah, but we cut them out of the episode because it was really long. But those are on Patreon, so join our Patreon. If you have any story suggestions, like true crime, spooky places, anything from surrounding states either, we do sister state episodes, so send them to us at spookyokiepodcast@gmail.com. And anything else?
If you have not watched our video on YouTube that we did with Beaver's Bend Cabin Country, then look it up. It is Ghost Encounter at Smithville Jail, and it's a good time. So
it was so much fun. So check it out. And subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm Madison.
I'm Catherine.
And this is Spooky Okie Podcast. So stay spooky.
Stay spooky.